women are playing a major role in Pottstown's entrepreneurial spirit. So we decided to offer a seat at the table, at the panel table, to some of the women in Pottstown who are not only believers, but investors in Pottstown's revitalization and our future. Many women we approached were unable to commit to this because they are busy running their businesses and couldn't get away. But we are thrilled to have the women that we have here now. The first panel was fantastic. I can't wait to see and hear what else they have to say. But let me first quickly introduce them. We have Pearl Sambusan, who is the Director of Development at Wynn Signature Restaurants. Tracy Purdy, the proprietor of 3 Daughters Inn Bed and Breakfast. Shaila Adurlu, who is the owner of Amruth Brewing Company, which is probably more commonly known in Pottstown as Cuisine India. Lisa Applegate, owner of Studio 36 Artisan Jewelry. Gina Spees, the owner of the Once Upon a Time Consignment Boutique. Unfortunately, we lost April Barchese, who was here on our first panel. She had another meeting she had to get off to. She's the president and CEO of Cedarville Engineering. And I skipped. We have Krista Costello, who's here, who is a Pottstown real estate developer and investor. And we also lost Akaya Worthington, who is the co-owner of Welcome to the Avenue Caribbean Restaurant. She actually went to get food for lunch. So you can catch up with her later. She will be back for sure. So on that note, I'm going to get things moving just by starting asking a couple of questions, and then we really want to turn this over to some questions and answers so you all can ask your questions as well. So my first question is going to be I'm calling it our speed dating round. I'm going to ask everyone, they've been introduced, but just give your 30-second elevator pitch. Where is your business, and what do you do there? We start with Pearl, and we'll go down the line.
Sure. So my name is Pearl. Our business is 152 East High Street. We're taking over the brick house space, turning it into a Thai, Japanese, Italian restaurant, hopefully in August. It's called the Blue Elephant.
And that's in the former brick house. Did you say that? You did. Okay, great.
I'm Tracy Purdy. My husband Jay and I are opening a bed and breakfast called 3 Daughters Inn, just a few doors east of Jack Cassidy's Irish Pub, and it will open at the end of May.
Hi, my name is Shaila Adluru. I own Amruth Brewery, which used to be Cuisine India before. So we have a social kitchen. We still carry Indian food. And also we have a medical practice, psychiatry and psychology associates in 400 block. And I own a few properties in downtown, 200 block and 100 block.
My name is Lisa Applegate, and I'm the owner of Studio 36 Bead Shop and Artisans Gallery. We're a full-service bead shop, jewelry repairs, supplies for the hobbyists. We offer workshops and classes, and are incorporating other artists' work in for gifts.
My name is Gina Spees. I'm the owner of Once Upon a Time Consignment Boutique. We offer designer brand clothing at a fraction of the cost for the entire family, men included, from casual to special occasion wear, and we are located at 254 East High Street.
Krista Costello, my husband and I are local real estate investors in residential and some commercial.
All right, terrific. Very diverse group. I appreciate that. Okay, so our first question, just to kind of set the stage and kick things off, for some of you, whoever cares to answer, what was the biggest single selling point to you in choosing to locate your business in Pottstown? What about Pottstown attracted you and made you feel that this is a good place to invest?
Affordability and community involvement. It's like a team effort from everybody. The borough, the Tri-County Chamber, the Hobart Swan, and the Steel River. So everywhere you go, you have a community there where they welcome you. And also, they'll try to help you out. If you just tell them you're interested in investment opportunity here, there's tons of opportunities. So all you have to do is just open up and talk to people. You get it.
Anyone else? Any other aspects that jumped out at you?
We moved to Pottstown back in '94, and one of the things that was the selling point then and is now when we opened our business is all the history and the architectural. We love the community. We love the events that are held down at the park or downtown. It really brings people together, and we really wanted to be a part of that. So we are excited to be downtown, and it's so nice to be partnering with Hobart's Run. Petito's been very instrumental in coordinating events downtown. I'm hoping that continues, but I think it's good for everyone.
My husband and I actually just walked down High Street and looked around and realized that the architecture, the location, it's just a really neat, unique town. We really liked that you could walk to the Schuylkill Trail, you could walk to the park. There are a lot of things to do in Pottstown, and at the time when we invested 7 years ago, we knew that it just needed some extra love. So that's why we picked Pottstown.
And the reason why I picked Pottstown, as was mentioned, was the affordability. It's a great place to open up your start your business, because we're at a place at the beginning. And it's definitely appealing. And then the buildings are beautiful. And then the support that you receive when trying to start up your business is awesome.
Okay, would anyone else like to comment on that?
We chose it because we were looking for a diverse community, a place where there were places for people from lots of different cultures and different races, different religions, different socioeconomic classes. We just didn't want to live in a homogenous community, and this is a really great place for that.
And I would also say it's a very underserved market. It has the community, it has the support, and it's ready to support businesses. So I think that there is a large gap that is getting filled.
Okay. Well, those are some of the great positive things, but in starting a business, surely there are a number of challenges. What was the biggest challenge that you faced, and do you have a piece of advice for people here who might be thinking about starting up a business in Pottstown? Go ahead.
In the business that I'm in, I think the most challenging thing was trying to change the perception of Pottstown and change people's minds about it. I think that took some time, but I'm happy to say that I have seen a huge change in that. I don't get as many negative comments. It's a lot of positivity and support behind the changes that are being made. And I think a lot of people, want to see this succeed and, need this town that's so close to a lot of different areas to succeed. So,
I agree with you, Krista. Yeah, there was a lot of a negative, but that has really, really changed because, and I know a question was asked earlier about what would you say to someone that may be saying bad things, and really, if you just go over all the changes that have been taking place, it shows that Pottstown is improving. It takes time to improve. It took a while for us to get where it is now, and it's going to take us a little time to come up out of it, but things are definitely happening that's good. So, and the location where we are near everyone to easily have access to us is awesome as well.
I think starting your business in a small community such as ours poses a lot of challenges. You don't necessarily have the traffic yet. We're still working on building that, but the hardest part is understanding what your weaknesses are, finding somebody to help you overcome them, and understanding that you're going to have to really hard. I think it's really important, especially in a community such as ours that's got a lot of charm and character, is that people take the time to invest in their properties. We often said to even real estate investors on our block who are purchasing properties for rent, make sure that you're renting to somebody that you'd like to live next to. It's our community, and we really treat the property that we're leasing like it's our own. We have made substantial improvements to it. And keep in mind, you never get a second chance to make a first impression.
All right, great. Anyone else would like to add to that?
I mean, for me, it's different because maybe I was earlier then compared to these people in town. That was in 2013, 2014, and 2015, coming in and buying the properties in downtown and renovating them and trying to find some tenant to come in and occupy. We waited almost 3 years, 4 years after putting tons of money into it. There wasn't a single business wants to move in. Residents, yes, you will. But again, there's a challenge too, getting the right tenant. So we did go through some hurdles, but however, since 2015, it started changing. So I can see the big improvement since then, and every day it's increasing. Even for the commercial property, one of my property was vacant for almost 3.5 years. Now, as we speak, I have 5 applications waiting just to get into the property. So right there you can see. So just be patient and don't be demoralized. There will be things that you don't expect. There are some challenges that you have to face. Be prepared and go for it.
Okay. Do any of you have comments on, honestly, what can Pottstown do better? What can we as community members do more of to help business owners and people starting a new business in Pottstown?
I have a different one. Not the same one I had last time. Make sure you're shopping local, that you're supporting the local businesses. You know, my husband harasses me all the time. If I step out of the borough to buy something, he's like, but that's not in Pottstown, because I am so committed to buying things in Pottstown. Like, we had to go into Stowe to get something the other day, and he goes, but that's not Pottstown. Like, he's giving me a hard time about it. And because I really am committed to trying to stay local, really, really hyper-local. And I was looking for, I forget what, a nail salon somewhere in town, and I posted it on Facebook, and somebody said, recommended a place. I said, well, technically that's not really Pottstown. I'm sure it has a Pottstown address, but that's not really in the borough. I think people just aren't even really aware. Not that it has to be like in the borough, but I'm trying to maximize the benefit for the borough. Then you want to shop in the borough. So I think that's something we could all do, is really be aware of that. You know, if we're going out to dinner tonight, think local, do that. You know, if you're thinking I need to go get a gift, where in town could I go to get that gift? You know, I mean, that helps everybody in town to do that. So.
Very good point. Okay, did you want to say something too?
I just wanted to reiterate what Tracy said. It's so critical to the development downtown that people support the local businesses. We can't afford to have an army of employees working for us, so we are doing all the mundane tasks in and out. And one of the complaints you often hear is there's nothing downtown. But if people aren't coming in to promote and support the businesses, there's not going to be anything downtown. Recently, there were a couple restaurants that were on the line of closing that have found the means to stay open. But it's getting the word out. And when you hear people commenting negatively about Pottstown, I'll often hear, is it safe? And my first response is, do you go into Philadelphia? Do you go into New York? Do you go into Phoenixville? If you're not engaging in any illegal activity, you have nothing to worry about. So it's important that we not only support them, but promote it on social media and outside of Pottstown as well.
Really good point. Okay, so that we can stay on time, we're going to do about 10 minutes of question and answer. So is there anyone that has a question right away? I do have a mic, and we'll pass it around. It's a walkable town, so that's what I'm doing. I'm walking. And can I ask, if you ask a question, because it's really hard to hear if you're up there, please talk right into the mic and talk slowly. And when you're done with your question, maybe you can put hands up right away, and the person who asked the question can pass the mics.
Hi. Question open to everybody up there. Looking around day to day, what are some opportunities, what needs, business needs, have you identified around you that, you know, would make the Pottstown better, would make your lives easier? Is there any business opportunity, business needs in your area right now?
So we talked about this just very briefly in the last session. So one of my other hats is I write the Positively Pottstown blog. And a few weeks ago, we did a post, and in this post, we asked just a general question: what is missing in town? What do we still need business-wise? We got a whole ton of suggestions, but a few of those suggestions, one was a coffee shop, and we found out in the last session a coffee shop is opening. We could use more than one, honestly. I mean, you know, it's one on this end of town, one on this end of town. I live over here on the east side, and I'd love to have a coffee shop on this side of town. Another person said a bookstore would be awesome. We'd love a bookstore. You know, somebody else suggested just a small little hardware store on High Street would be great. I don't need to run down to Home Depot, you know, just to get, you know, a couple of small items. It would be great to have some place on High Street that I could walk to. Somebody else suggested a little grocery store, just a basic services grocery store. It doesn't have to be, you know, every single item in the world, but just, you know, the basics that we could walk to, that we don't have to jump in the car and drive across 100 or drive over down to Aldi or up to Landis or wherever, Redner's. Just a place you could walk to would be really, really great. I forget, somebody else suggested a gift shop. And then we got into this conversation about where in town you could get gifts, and there are places. Studio 36 has gifts, and there's a few gifts at the farmer's market, and there's some places to get gifts, but just a gift shop would be great. So there's the stationery store. There were things like that that were suggested that I think all of those things are great ideas. And, you know, those are conversations we should be having, you know, talking about. And as we had those conversations, there were people who were like, oh man, I would love to open a bookstore. Oh man, yeah, I could, you know, totally do that. I just don't know where to start, or I'm afraid to do that. So that's a whole nother set of conversations that we could be having. But yeah. I don't know.
I think for me the biggest challenge is that I've encountered being downtown is the parking. People are uncomfortable with the back-end angle parking that we have, and what's even more frustrating is that whether you own a property or you're leasing a property, that the business owners, some of them, feel that they have the right to park in front of those businesses when those spaces should be reserved for patrons. So I hate when a customer comes in and A, there's nowhere to park, B, they're complaining about parking in on the angle and knocking out their taillights, which if you walk down High Street, you'll often see piles of glass near them. So I think that having a place where people felt comfortable that they could park, cross, shop, go to the restaurants without getting too frustrated with parking enforcement would be beneficial.
Okay, great question, thank you. Who is next? Did someone pass the mic? Okay, thank you.
So I'm always trying to understand better in this region the amount of knowledge workers, tech workers, solopreneurs, freelancers, sort of this digitally native type person. And just wondering if anecdotally you all have any insight, like, does that population exist here?
Can you repeat the second half of your question?
The second half. Anecdotally, do you all know, maybe based on like your customers, does that population exist here? So for context, I'm sorry?
You're talking about the consumers? Yeah. Customers?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not enough customer base if you have a big scale things going around, but this town does draw a crowd depending upon based on the business. The surrounding towns, that's something they need to target trying to get those from the, I think at the Stowe, Boyertown, Douglasville, Birdsboro, the reason around this Gilbertsville, Limerick, if you can target those people, make them come in, then you get it. But as it is Pottstown, I would doubt it, because my experience is a seasonal. And also, it's not all the time you see the same crowd coming in, but new crowd is very rarely you see them, not many people. So it takes a little bit more time, but slowly they're coming out. They can see the new business opening up, the fun stuff, the cutting edge, the axe throwing. Then they want to come out and see. Then they'll say, oh, there is other shops, the other restaurants, let me explore. So that is what I think we need to, a little bit more attractive, more publicizing the town. So give a lot of social networks and other ads, maybe something, the billboards, those kind of things could help them. Just put attractive package. Hey, these are the fun stuff to do in Pottstown.
I would say that I think that was true a few years ago, but I think we're seeing more of that type of worker moving into Pottstown. And the reason I say that is I work on the board of Mosaic Community Land Trust, and over the last few years, our board has completely turned over other than 2 of us. And that change in the board, more than half of our board is doing that kind of work, you know, working from home, doing digital media stuff at home. So I'm seeing a change, and a lot of the people that I'm meeting that are just moving into town, buying an old home, rehabbing it, that's the kind of work that they're doing. So I am seeing that that is starting to change in town.
I'm not trying to confirm my own bias, but that's me. 'Cause
Yeah.
I lived in Old City, Philadelphia for 10 years.
Yeah.
And work in tech, came out here and want to know if they're like other me's.
Yeah, and there are for sure. And if you talk to me after, I'll pass you some names.
All right. Thank you.
All right, another question. Oh. Someone else? I thought I saw another hand. No? Oh, there we go. In the middle there.
Hi. I work with a direct service agency in Pottstown, and I think that it's wonderful for all of the businesses that have been the risk takers to come in and be on that cutting edge for Pottstown, because it gives people hope. But as I think it was Pearl said, that the community is underserved. It's underserved in very many ways. So part of this in creating businesses is having businesses that can actually serve the underserved people here in Pottstown. So that's another thing. It is wonderful to have all the businesses that you have, but as you talked about a food store, there is Redner's, but even Redner's is expensive for some people. And to have businesses here that exist, because the majority of the people that we serve walk, okay? They walk everywhere, or they have to use public transportation. So having a town that they can walk into to actually be able to live their life with a quality to it, that they don't have to get on a bus and go everywhere for all of their needs, is a very important aspect for these people. So as we're trying to get more businesses in, I would hope that that is also kept in mind, that there is a very diverse population that lives in the area, and all of that diversity needs to be served.
So walkability is a big, very important
The
thing.
walkability is a very important aspect
Yes.
for the people that live in this community.